James wiped flour from his hands onto his already stained apron, the sound of a baby's wails cutting through the dinner rush chaos like a knife through butter. Table 7. A woman in a designer blazer, clutching her phone with one hand while desperately bouncing a screaming infant with the other. "Chef, order up for table 3?" his sous chef called out, but James was already moving, untying his apron as he crossed the dining room floor of his small bistro. The woman looked up as his shadow fell across her table, her eyes red-rimmed and frantic. She was beautiful in that polished, untouchable way that money could buy, but right now she looked utterly defeated. "I'm so sorry," she stammered, gathering her purse. "I know we're disturbing everyone. I just thought I haven't eaten all day, and Emma, she usually sleeps after her bottle, but—" "How old?" James asked simply, extending his arms. "What?" "Your daughter. How old is she?" 4 months. The woman hesitated, clearly torn between propriety and desperation. "But you don't need to—" James had already scooped the baby from her arms. Emma, red-faced and furious, quieted for exactly 3 seconds before resuming her protests. But James just smiled, that easy grin that had charmed his way through culinary school and convinced investors to back this little dream of his. "She's hungry," he said, swaying gently. "But not for formula. She's picking up on your stress, and that's making her fussier. When's the last time you ate something real?" The woman, she'd introduced herself as Victoria something when she'd been seated, laughed bitterly. "Real food? I can't remember. It's been conference calls and board meetings and bottles and diapers and—" Her voice cracked. James nodded toward the kitchen. "Come on." "I couldn't possibly. Lady, I've got a 6-year-old son who taught me that sometimes the only way to fix one problem is to fix the other one first. Trust me." Victoria followed him through the swinging doors, past the surprised looks of his kitchen staff. James settled Emma into a high chair they kept for staff children, her cries already diminishing as the warm kitchen sounds, the sizzle of pans, the rhythmic chopping, seemed to hypnotize her. "Sit," James instructed Victoria, pulling out a stool by the prep station, "and tell me the last time someone cooked for you." Victoria sat, looking utterly out of place in her $1,000 suit among the industrial steel and worn cutting boards. "My mother," she said quietly, "before she died, 2 years ago." James nodded, already moving, his hands working without conscious thought. This was his meditation, his prayer. Olive oil in a warm pan, garlic, paper thin, dancing in the heat. What did she make you? Nothing fancy, just comfort food. Mac and cheese from a box, grilled cheese that was always a little burnt on one side. Victoria's voice softened. She said food was love made visible. Emma had gone quiet, fascinated by the symphony of the kitchen. James smiled as he worked, adding butter to another pan, the smell rich and golden. Smart woman. "What do you do for work, Victoria?" "I run a tech company. Well, I inherited it. Trying to run it," she laughed shakily. "I'm supposed to be in Shanghai tomorrow for a merger that could change everything. But Emma's been so fussy, and the nanny quit last week, and I can't seem to do anything right anymore." James cracked eggs into a bowl, whisking them with cream and fresh herbs from the garden his son helped tend. "You know what I think?" "What?" "I think you're trying to do everything right, which is exactly the problem. I learned that lesson the hard way when my wife left. Tried to be the perfect dad, the perfect chef, the perfect everything. Nearly killed myself trying." Victoria was quiet, watching him fold the omelet with practiced ease. "How do you balance it all?" "You don't. Some days the restaurant gets more of me. Some days Sam gets more of me. Some days we eat cereal for dinner and call it an adventure." He slid the omelet onto a plate, golden and perfect, then reached for bread. "But every day we eat together, even if it's 5 minutes between customers, even if it's burnt toast at midnight. Food is love made visible, right?" The grilled cheese hit the pan with a satisfying hiss. James layered it thick, good sharp cheddar and creamy brie, the kind of indulgent comfort that only made sense when someone needed to be taken care of. Emma babbled happily from her high chair, reaching for the wooden spoon James had given her to play with. Victoria watched her daughter with wonder, as if seeing her clearly for the first time all day. "She's beautiful," James said, flipping the sandwich. "Looks like she has your eyes." Everyone says she looks like her father. Victoria's voice went flat. My ex-husband. He said I was too ambitious, too cold, that I'd never be a real mother because I cared more about board meetings than bedtime stories. James plated the food, the omelet fluffy and herb-scented, the grilled cheese golden and oozing cheese, a small cup of tomato soup to dip in. He set it in front of Victoria like an offering. You know what I told Sam when he asked why Mommy left? Victoria shook her head, picking up a spoon with trembling hands. I told him that sometimes people have different ideas about what love looks like. Some people think love is staying home and making cookies. Some people think love is working hard to build something better for their family. Both can be true. Victoria took a bite of the omelet and closed her eyes, and James watched her shoulders finally drop from around her ears. Oh, she whispered, and he saw tears spill over. Not the frantic tears from before, but something deeper, more healing. Oh, this is love made visible, James finished gently. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, Victoria eating like someone remembering how, Emma playing contentedly with her spoon. The dinner rush continued around them, but James had eyes only for this small miracle, a frazzled mother finding her way back to herself, one bite at a time. I can't miss Shanghai, Victoria said finally. This merger, it could secure Emma's future, her college fund, her opportunities, everything I'm working towards. Then don't miss it, James said simply, but take her with you. I can't travel internationally with a 4-month-old. I don't know how. My friend Yuki runs a service for traveling executives with kids, flight nannies, baby-proofed hotel suites, the works. I'll text you her number. And I'll pack you some of that soup mix, good for airplane bottles when she gets fussy. Victoria stared at him. Why are you helping me? You don't even know me. James glanced at Emma, who was now trying to eat the wooden spoon, and smiled. Because someone helped me once. When Sam was about her age, and I was trying to prep for a dinner service with him strapped to my chest because I couldn't afford childcare, a customer, this elderly lady, just took him and walked him around the restaurant for 2 hours while I cooked. Never even told me her name. He stood, beginning to clean up. Besides, the world needs more mothers like you, ones who show their kids that love sometimes looks like fighting for their dreams, not just tucking them in at night. Victoria finished her sandwich, color returning to her cheeks, her breathing steady for the first time since she walked in. This was perfect. All of it. How much do I owe you? James waved her away. On the house, but do me a favor. Anything? Send me a picture from Shanghai, you and Emma, so I know you made it. Victoria stood, lifting Emma from the high chair. Her daughter went willingly, content now, fed on the secondary nourishment of her mother's restored peace. I will, Victoria promised, and James believed her. And James, thank you, for seeing what I needed before I did. As she walked back through the dining room, James watched other diners smile at the sight of the calm baby, the relaxed mother. He thought about love made visible, how it looked different for everyone, but tasted the same in the end. His phone buzzed 3 days later. A photo of Victoria and Emma in front of the Shanghai skyline, both of them smiling. The text read, merger successful, baby and mom both thriving. Soup recipe worked like magic at 30,000 feet. Thank you for teaching me that loving her means loving myself first. V. James smiled, slipping the phone back into his pocket. In the dining room, another young mother was struggling with a cranky toddler. He reached for his apron. Some recipes, he'd learned, were meant to be shared.